Norris says Max Verstappen's title was easy, Hamilton is disappointed after pace showed he could have won the race, and Ferrari tensions are at a high. Do consider subscribing to the channel. Let's get into the latest F1 news. Carlos Sainz responded firmly to his teammate Charles Leclerc regarding Leclerc's decision to voice complaints through the radio or the media after their tense experience during the cool-down lap of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. This disagreement arose after Leclerc expressed his frustration with being unable to secure a podium finish, ultimately crossing the finish line in fourth place, 3 seconds behind Sainz. Leclerc was understandably upset after Saturday night's race, especially since he initially got ahead of Sainz at the start. However, his efforts to challenge George Russell for the lead caused substantial wear on his tires, forcing him to pit earlier than he had planned. As the race continued, tire degradation became an issue for all the drivers, which led to multiple pit stops. When Leclerc exited the pit lane, he found himself just in front of Sainz, and the team communicated to him that Sainz was instructed not to overtake him. However, Sainz did indeed pass Leclerc in the race. Sainz ultimately secured the third position, finishing behind both of the Mercedes drivers, while Leclerc finished fourth. Leclerc's disappointment led to an outburst filled with expletives. However, it wasn't just Leclerc who was dissatisfied with the race strategy. Sainz was also critical of the Ferrari team's decisions during his battle with Leclerc. On the radio, Sainz made it known that he was frustrated about the timing of his own pit stop. Reflecting on the situation, Sainz explained to Sky F1 that there was a particular moment when he had to allow Leclerc to pass him, which he felt caused him to waste significant time. He admitted, "Yes, I'm not going to lie, and I'm not happy about that." Despite this, he acknowledged that Mercedes simply had a faster car on that day and may have beaten them regardless. He concluded that finishing on the podium was the best they could have hoped for under the circumstances. Sainz expressed his dissatisfaction with how the race was executed, stating that he believes they could have performed much better. When asked whether he thought discussions needed to take place between him, Leclerc, and the Ferrari team, Sainz was clear that he felt Leclerc's complaints should not have been made public in the first place. The driver who has won 4 Grand Prix remarked, "I don't like using the radio to complain or to do anything. I don't like using the media to criticize or to express whether I'm happy or not. I would rather handle those matters privately, because comments made to the media usually don't lead to positive outcomes." Sainz continued, "But obviously I'm the first one who is unhappy about the situation, and I was the first one trying to resolve it by pitting and clearing my way. Nevertheless, the whole situation turned out to be somewhat chaotic, and I'm not content with how things went, but that's just the way it is." Despite his comments over the radio, when Leclerc faced the media later, he chose not to delve deeply into the specifics of what had occurred. "It's okay," Leclerc said. "I mean, there are always frustrations in situations like this, but it's important to recognize that everyone may not be aware of the full context. Therefore, I believe there's no need for me to provide extensive details, so I won't elaborate more on that." He acknowledged his frustrations, but maintained that it doesn't change anything for the team. "It's a bit frustrating for the drivers," he admitted. "While finishing in second place is always good, at the end of the day, it's fine." Looking back at the race, Leclerc reflected on his earlier stint, mentioning how his tires had significantly degraded and that he didn't want to fight with Sainz at that point, allowing him to pass. He concluded that these matters would be sorted out within the team, without getting into further specifics. When asked if he felt that Ferrari was favoring Sainz, he quickly shot down the idea. No, it's not about favoring one driver over the other. It's about the communication we've received and our individual perspectives. But that's all fine." Leclerc added, "I feel like I've already said too much, so I won't go into the details, but it can be frustrating when things play out this way, and while it has been difficult for me, I can understand that it might not be apparent to others." Lewis Hamilton expressed his belief that the Las Vegas Grand Prix would have been much easier for him if he had qualified in a better position on the previous Friday evening, which was what he and his team had hoped for. Unfortunately, Hamilton ended up starting the race in 10th place after making a mistake during his first flying lap in the third qualifying session. This was followed by another setback when he violated track limits during his second lap, which meant he could not improve his position. Despite this challenging start, Hamilton showcased his remarkable driving skills as he battled his way through the field. By the time the race came to an end, he managed to secure second place, finishing just behind his Mercedes teammate George Russell. Along the way, Hamilton successfully overtook drivers from both McLaren and Ferrari, as well as Max Verstappen, who, after the race, was confirmed as the world champion for the fourth consecutive time. As the race unfolded, Hamilton noticed he was closing the gap to the leader in the final stages, but unfortunately couldn't catch up with Russell in time to threaten him for the victory on the streets of Las Vegas. After reflecting on his performance, Hamilton acknowledged that if he had been able to qualify with the speed he had demonstrated during practice sessions and in the initial parts of qualifying, the outcome of the race might have been very different. Regardless of the challenges he faced, Hamilton found joy in making his way through the crowded field of drivers, which reminded him of the early days of his racing career when he started in karting. Following the race, he took the time to offer his congratulations to Max Verstappen for clinching the championship title with several races still left in the season. Hamilton said he was proud of Verstappen's achievements and recognized the outstanding performance of his teammate Russell, stating that had he done his job properly during qualifying, the race would have been a much smoother experience for him. However, Hamilton remained optimistic and noted that he had a great time coming from 10th place to the front. He praised the teamwork and effort that his team had put in, highlighting that they were unsure why their car was so competitive this weekend. Despite not knowing the exact reasons for their success, Hamilton expressed gratitude for being part of such an impressive performance and described this weekend as the best he had ever felt in the car. When asked about his qualifying struggles during the post-race press conference, Hamilton shared his thoughts with the media, including representatives from PlanetF1.com. He acknowledged that speculating about what could have been in terms of his qualifying position was not particularly useful, emphasizing instead how well George performed throughout the race. Hamilton expressed his happiness to have contributed to the team's success by achieving a 1-2 finish alongside Russell. He reflected on the thrill of advancing through the ranks during the race, saying that moving forward in this manner always felt rewarding. He likened the experience to his karting days at Rye House, where he often had to start from the back and make his way up through the field, making this race especially enjoyable for him. Christian Horner, who is the team principal of Red Bull Racing, recently stated that it is unquestionable that Max Verstappen has established himself as one of the all-time greats in the world of Formula One. This declaration follows Verstappen's remarkable achievement of securing his fourth consecutive world championship in a thrilling race held in Las Vegas. In this race, which took place in the vibrant atmosphere of Sin City, Verstappen finished in 5th place. Notably, this positioning was just one spot ahead of his closest title rival, Lando Norris. By finishing ahead of Norris, Verstappen was able to clinch the championship with 2 races remaining in the season. Norris had to perform exceptionally well to keep the championship contest alive, needing to score at least 3 points more than Verstappen during this event. However, with Verstappen's finish, he solidified his place in history as only the 6th driver to win 4 world championships in the entirety of Formula One. Throughout the current season, Verstappen has frequently been asked about his future in the sport. The Dutch driver has long expressed a desire to explore racing outside of Formula One, which has led to discussions not only about his performance on the track, but also about how long he will continue to compete in this premier racing series. Despite the conversations regarding his potential future endeavors, Horner emphasized that Verstappen's outstanding achievements at such a young age indicate that there is still more in store for him within Formula One. In an interview with various media outlets, including PlanetF1.com, Horner expressed his belief in Verstappen's ongoing potential. He remarked, "I think there's still more to come from him, to be honest." Horner highlighted that Verstappen is still quite young at just 27 years of age, and given his intense dedication and work ethic, there are surely more accomplishments ahead. With the legendary Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton currently tied with 7 world championships each, the timeline is favoring Verstappen if he aspires to chase this prestigious record. When asked if he believes Verstappen can achieve this monumental goal, Horner responded affirmatively, acknowledging Verstappen's remarkable capability as a driver. However, he also pointed out that achieving such ambitions involves more than just Verstappen's skills. It is contingent upon various factors, including the performance of the car. "Yeah, for sure, he's got the capability to do it," Horner said, but added, "That's dependent on other factors. As you well know, in this sport, it's about man and machine, so we've got to make sure that we give him the machinery that's capable of competing." Looking back on the 2024 season, Red Bull Racing and Verstappen faced significant challenges, particularly after a strong start. McLaren and Ferrari emerged as formidable competitors, boasting faster cars for much of the year, as generally agreed upon in the racing community. Despite these challenges, Horner emphasized that the way Verstappen secured this world championship sets him apart and helps him rank among the finest drivers Formula One has ever seen. This one is a very special victory because obviously there have been challenges this year, Horner explained. He acknowledged Verstappen's remarkable performance, noting, "Max has scored more than double the amount of race wins than any other driver." By clinching the championship with 2 races still remaining, Verstappen has proven to be far superior to his rivals throughout the season, marking his dominance in the sport. Horner concluded by asserting that this year has truly solidified Verstappen's standing among the greats in Formula One, saying, "I think that both statistically and based on the way that he's driven, that's unquestionable now." Despite Max Verstappen describing the 2024 season as a challenging one, Lando Norris believes it was actually a relatively easy season for the 4-time world champion, especially considering how slowly McLaren started the year. Verstappen clinched his 4th consecutive Drivers' Championship title under the bright lights of Las Vegas on Saturday night. By finishing in 5th place at the Las Vegas Grand Prix, he secured an impressive lead of 63 points over Norris, which left the competition essentially out of reach. The intensity of their rivalry was clear in recent races, especially after the two had back-to-back clashes in Austin and Mexico. The situation seemed dire for Norris when Verstappen managed to end his winless streak with a remarkable victory at the Brazilian Grand Prix. This exciting race saw him start from 17th on the grid and race his way to the front, ultimately winning by a margin of nearly 20 seconds. That win marked a significant return to form for Verstappen, being his first in 11 Grands Prix. Following his victory, Verstappen reflected on what he described as a tough run and a challenging season as he celebrated his title number 4 in Las Vegas. Even though he could not secure the win and finished in 5th place during the race, his overall performance throughout the season proved to be exceptional. However, Norris believes that McLaren's late entry into the competition made things much easier for Red Bull and for Verstappen specifically. He stated in a media interview, including comments to PlanetF1.com, that Verstappen had a relatively uncomplicated season. He remarked, "I think if we had a better car at the beginning of the year, we would have been fighting him a lot more and he would have been a lot more under pressure than he's ever been." Norris expressed that once McLaren started to improve, they were able to put some pressure on Verstappen, which resulted in some mistakes from both him and his team throughout the season. He acknowledged that while there were some errors, they were minimal compared to the consistent performance that Verstappen has become known for. Norris went on to highlight Verstappen's remarkable ability to extract maximum performance from his car. He pointed out that Verstappen has not had a bad qualifying session or a poor race all season. In fact, he noted that Verstappen's worst race of the year might have been in Budapest, where he still managed to finish in 5th place. Norris emphasized this impressive consistency, explaining that Verstappen consistently gives everything he has in every race, which is always inspiring to witness. Regardless of whether the season was easy or difficult, Norris took a moment to commend Verstappen's performance throughout 2024. He remarked, "Massive congrats to him," acknowledging that Verstappen truly deserves his success, as he has navigated the season without making significant mistakes. Norris pointed out one of Verstappen's greatest strengths. He consistently performs at an incredibly high level. He hasn't shown any weaknesses during the year, and when he has had the fastest car, he has completely dominated the races. Even when he wasn't in the quickest car, he remained competitive, often finishing near the front and nearly winning races. Norris concluded that Verstappen has maintained an outstanding track record throughout the year, with his worst result being around 5th place. He praised Verstappen's flawless driving, noting that he drives with a level of precision that is hard to fault in any area. Saying farewell to Lewis Hamilton comes 3 years after he last held the title of F1 World Champion, but Toto Wolff, the team principal of Mercedes, firmly believes that this transition does not overshadow the remarkable success story that Mercedes and Hamilton have built together over the years. Hamilton, who has been a significant driver for Mercedes, is set to leave his current team and join Ferrari at the conclusion of the F1 2024 season. This move comes after he exercised an escape clause in his contract, which allowed him to ink a multi-year deal with the famed Italian team. The upcoming Abu Dhabi Grand Prix marks a significant milestone, as it will signal the close of Hamilton's impressive 12-year stint with Mercedes. During his time with the team, he has achieved phenomenal success, clinching 6 World Championship titles and accumulating an impressive total of 82 Grand Prix victories. Notably, 80 of these victories were attained during the first 9 years of their partnership, showcasing an incredible level of dominance during that period. However, the landscape has changed in Formula One since the sport transitioned to V6 hybrid power units, and both Hamilton and Mercedes found themselves facing challenges starting in 2022. This change brought about new ground effect aerodynamic cars, and as a result, Hamilton has seen his performance constrained, managing to secure only 2 victories over the last 3 seasons. These hurdles have made it difficult for him to reach the elite milestone of winning an 8th championship, a record that many fans and analysts anticipated. Despite these challenges, Wolff is resolute in his perspective that the achievements of Hamilton and Mercedes should not be diminished. He emphasized in an interview with the media, including representatives from PlanetF1.com in Las Vegas, that the nature of motorsport is intensely competitive. He highlighted that they were incredibly fortunate to have won 8 consecutive World Championship titles, a feat unmatched in any other sport. Hamilton, in his illustrious career, has claimed 7 drivers' championships, which adds to his reputation as one of the sport's greatest drivers. Wolff noted that it is unrealistic to expect any team or driver to maintain an unbroken streak of victories or to be in contention for every championship season after season. He pointed out that the regulations in Formula One were changed twice during their successful run, and while Mercedes maintained a high level of performance and continued to win championships, they were ultimately caught off guard by the new regulations that took effect in 2022. To this day, the team has struggled to find steady performance and provide their drivers with a car that meets their needs for predictability, downforce, and overall handling. They have been working hard to address issues like car bounce, ride quality, and tire degradation under varying conditions, aiming to create a balanced and competitive vehicle. Wolff shared a poignant analogy he had come across, recalling a moment when a basketball player was asked if he thought his season could be deemed a failure. The player replied that Michael Jordan played 10 or 12 seasons in the NBA and only won 4 championships. He questioned whether that meant the entirety of those seasons was a failure and whether the other 6 seasons were failures as well. Wolff reflected on his own experience with Hamilton, noting that they have been together in this championship for 12 years and won 8 titles during that time. He posed the question of whether the seasons they didn't win were failures, emphasizing that their journey has been filled with successes, including a 3rd-place finish 2 years ago, a 2nd-place finish last year, and 3 race victories this current season. In Wolff's view, this is not a story of complete failure, but rather a testament to a solid performance in a challenging environment. He remains optimistic and committed to improvement, stating that they are continuously striving for better results. His focus will be on pushing the boundaries and enhancing their performance, not only for next season, but also with an eye toward the pivotal changes expected in 2026. That's it for this video. I'll see you in the next one.